you a hamburger, honey. Let me get you a hamburger, honey. You were a good trooper, huh? You held your head high. You held your head high, hon. You're a good girl. Dad left you on the expressway. You took it like a champ, hon. You held your head up like a mixed breed Shih Tzu. You didn't get like a little whiny dog. Yeah, I found out why, because I upload so many videos, nobody gets a notice. Consider yourself honored, and it's a privilege. Yeah, I have the greatest dog in the world, no doubt about it. Believe me, I'm well aware of it. I got so lucky with this dog. I didn't even want her. And I said no at the beginning. Then I had a conscience attack. Best thing that ever happened to me. It really is the best thing that ever happened to me. Got so damn lucky. I just got done running out of gas. I deserved it.
Welcome
Hey,
to
Sean.
McDonald's with Davey. I'm you what left today?
No, a plain hamburger, please.
Plain hamburger.
Yep.
Anything else?
Hey, Deanna. No, that's it. Thank you.
Just plain hamburger.
Yep.
That'll be $169.
I knew it.
Thank you.
You know, I haven't been feeling that great, and you know, this thing uses a lot of. It's relative, right? But I go through a lot of gas. Well, now the gas is $3.39 and all this bullshit. Because I run it down to nothing, it cuts me off at $75, which is about a gallon and a half or 2 gallons short when I run it down to the fumes. Well, normally I don't. You know, I'm aware of this because I go by the odometer. I know what the max mileage I can get of this van is. But when it's not completely filled up, look at this poor sucker drop their money. When it's not completely filled up, I don't know how short I am. Well, I know now because I was 2 miles short of home and I ran out of gas. Yeah. I don't. That shit doesn't bother me as much as you think. So this goes to show you, and I've known this before. I already know this, but you may not know it. So I get out. I'm about a mile. Hello.
Hi.
Working again.
Yes.
If we'd have told each other 10 years ago, you'd have been here and I'd have been going through drive-through, we both wouldn't have believed it.
No.
I know. You never know.
No. I know. It's kind of perfect though, like the hours and
Yeah,
stuff,
no.
so.
Plus, everything changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
It did.
This is no longer a job where you get experience in high school.
No.
No, I know.
Well, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was like, I just need to get out for a couple
Yeah,
hours.
no, socialize, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do studies on that. It matters.
It
Like
does.
people getting a coffee on their way to work. It's a big deal.
It is.
Yeah. Have a good day.
You too.
So anyway, so I run out of gas. Not the end of the world. Sun shining, not blowing. I'm 2 miles from the gas station. So I figured I got to buy a can. No problem. So I get out of my van, I start walking, and these people pull over. and they're super nice, and they're kind of driving an old jalopy. Those are the people that always pull over and want to know if you want to ride. It's not the guy in the new Escalade. It's the people in the old beater. They said, "Oh, do you need a ride?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm going to West Branch here. Could you give me a ride?" It's like, "Yeah, be glad to. Where do you need to go?" Home Depot. They wanted to give me a ride back to the van. I said, "No, you don't need to do that. Believe me, man. Let me get this gas. Thank you. You can count on 20 minutes a mile to walk." Believe me, I had my driver's license taken away 4 years ago for 6 months. I'm an expert on this. So I pegged my walk at about 43 minutes to the Home Depot to get a gas can. So they saved me 43 minutes right out of the chute. Go into Home Depot, find the gas can, head out the door, and now here's where I'm debating, because I didn't pay good enough attention when I started walking. Is there a creek? How you doing?
Good.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.
I couldn't remember what it was like on the other side. Some places you can't walk all the way through because there's water, mud. I should have paid better attention. So I thought, well, I will chance it, and I'll walk on the south side, even though I ran out on the north side. Hopefully somebody will see me and pick me up. I wasn't even on the entrance ramp yet. Couple beeps their horn. They're in an old beater. It's like, "Sir," they call me sir. That's how you know you're getting old. It's like, "Sir, do you need a ride?" It's like, "Well, only if you're going that way." She said, "Well, we're not going that way, but it's cold out and we want to give you a ride." It's like, "Well, actually, I'm 2 miles down, but I don't want you to get a ticket if you get caught in a turnaround. So you're going to have to go to Augrey, turn around. Not Augrey. What the hell is that? 202 exit. Whatever the hell that is." And they said, no problem, no problem. So they take me down there, make sure my van starts. So I give them, they don't want to take any money. So I give them $20. I'm glad to do it. But it just goes to show you, I've had this happen before. Here I run out of gas. And who picks me up? People driving beaters that are glad to help. So I know this sounds nuts, and I am nuts. But it was actually a great experience today. It restored I pick people up all the time. Stop, their cars broke, all that. But I don't do it because I expect to get picked up myself. But it restored my faith in humanity. And those are the people that always help you out. And when I got my damn driver's license taken away, guess who gave me rides to court? Somebody that wasn't working, that needed a muffler. It wasn't somebody else that had a day off or a nice car or any of that. It's always the people that catch a lot of shit that are the ones that come through for you. I've experienced this my whole life. No, I've never been homeless. Nope. I've never been homeless. Nope. That's what I think, yeah. Yeah, the homeless people, I've always had an interest in that. All that, man. I'm curious how people get where they're at, how they are unable to escape it. And, if I can help them. Now, I have had helping them broke off in my ass a couple times. But I can tell you this. I decided a long time ago that and I think I'm an okay guy. I don't think I deserve any awards or I should be recognized. But I decided a long time ago that when I do something, to don't think it's a cumulative and you're gonna win the Mega Millions or you're gonna expect it to happen to you. If I didn't get picked up today, I wouldn't have been mad about it. I wouldn't have been bitching like, "Hey man, I pick people up. How come nobody's picking me up?" It doesn't work that way. Now, on the flip side of that is, what I will say is, for years I said, interviewing the homeless or helping them out or, whatever, that I didn't have any expectations, and I found that to be false. And what I mean by that is the expectation that I didn't know that I had, based on what I just said here a minute ago, is that I expected that they would get better and that they would be upfront and I was wrong in a couple cases. And I've really had it broke off of my ass about 4 times with people that I did nothing but help. But it did curtail my doing that a little bit. And I don't promote channels like I used to, trying to get them, to get a good channel going. And it's because of that. You don't really know what people are like until they don't need your help anymore and they get cocky. And the real people come out. And people can say all they want about Maddie, but Maddie's never saying bad stuff about people. She does have a drug problem. She's never causing trouble. And I guess that's why I like her so much. And you can't say that about the kook in Indiana, the scamming ripoff in Inkster, the transgender in Texas, and that bulging blue-eyed hermaphrodite in Flint. Maddie is a sweetheart. She really is. I mean, it sucks. That's the popularity with Maddie. And that is because she is such a sweetheart. She never bitches about anything. But she's got a physical and an emotional craving for drugs. I mean, believe me, nobody is more, it's not upset, it's not disappointed, I don't even know how to describe it, how I could feel about that. I just, like I said, expectations. I guess I have them for her too. And you just see her and it's like, oh my God, man. I mean, can't this change? But I've been around long enough in my short 5 or 6 years of doing this that I realize that there isn't anything that I'm going to do that's going to change it. And even when these girls get murdered and they die, I give myself about a half hour of mourning, and then I move on, because if I dwelled on it, it'd drive me crazy. Raven could drive me crazy if I dwelled on it. And when I start thinking like that, I think to myself, there's no way Raven was getting out of there. She had had it with her family. She was in too deep. And honestly, there's a point with these women where they don't want what you think they'd want. You think that pulling them out of there, getting them off drugs, and making them a soccer mom in a nice house with a good job and nice neighbors, in your eyes, that's what success is? They don't want that. They don't. They know their life sucks. They don't want that either. But there's no big giant carrot out there swinging that's going to get them to want to leave what they're doing. They're going to roll the dice every night. Maybe OD, maybe not. And with the fantasy of getting out of there someday and going to rehab successfully. It's just how it goes. If you didn't say to yourself that you're going to go to rehab someday, you'd go crazy out there. So even though you may not mean it and it never happens, nobody ever says, you know what, I love it here. I'm never leaving, except Becky. Once in a while, Becky will talk about rehab because she needs help. But when you cut to the brass tacks, Becky's made this choice a long time ago. It sucks. She's at least not selling herself anymore, which I guess is an improvement. You know? Yeah, I mean, it's not even like the old catchphrases, they want to do it. I'll tell you, I uploaded a video about him, Jason, the guy that just died a couple weeks ago. I don't know this for sure, but I know he's dead, and I know the girl that he was with is dead, because I went and looked on the sister's Facebook. For a while, people were trying to track them down, and my guess is they found him dead someplace of an overdose and probably a trap house or a car or something. I don't know. I don't know the details. It doesn't matter. But if you go back, see, I've had to edit out any drug talk in my YouTube videos. But if you scroll around, even though the video has been demonetized, or there's, what do you want, hon? Go on, jump over there. Even though the video has been demonetized, or they got the yellow dollar sign, which you don't see on your end, you will see the full interview with him. Go look it up. It's Meet Jason. Super good guy. Was back on track and was with Amanda. And you can look up Amanda. I interviewed her. Sweetheart girl. I mean, what they did was monumental. And I guess, you know, I don't follow Facebook, but I could see where he relapsed in August. And here this guy died a couple weeks ago, and they just had a baby recently. Things were looking so good. But here's my point. When I went on there and what I have to do is I bring those videos up, and then I have to go through and edit out the drug talk. I'm listening to things that I didn't listen to before. And you say, oh, how could you do that? I'll tell you how. Because when you're in the midst of asking questions and you're in the heat of the moment, or there's somebody down there that says if they ever see me, they're going to kill me, or I'm afraid Daisy's going to bite somebody, it's never a studio environment. It's not uncommon for me to be distracted. So a lot of times I'm asking questions, kind of like looking around, doing other things. And when I went to edit his video Saturday or Sunday before I uploaded it, I listened to the whole thing because I was listening for drug talk. And he said in there, and I don't remember him saying this at the time, although back then I never thought YouTube would have a problem with this, so it wasn't significant. He said that getting off drugs, you can't do it for somebody else. It's a good place to start, but that isn't going to keep you off drugs. And sure as shit, he kind of predicted his own future there. He was exactly right. And up until I heard that, I'd never had it explained to me that way. But that definitely, there's just too many examples out there where that's true. He was exactly right. You can do it for a child or a mom or a dad temporarily. But if you planning on getting clean and staying clean, you better find something other than that, because that's temporary. And boy, he coined it just perfectly. Great guy, man. Yeah. So, you know, I didn't know anything, man. I mean, I knew heroin, you shouldn't do it, and uh, it was bad for me, but that's about it. I didn't know a damn thing about heroin. If you look at my early interviews, like Angel and Penny, sheesh, I didn't know. I was just like an innocent guy, you know. I knew people got caught and he got addicted and Jimi Hendrix and all this stuff, but if nothing else, boy, I was given a honorary PhD through the street people of Detroit in more ways than one. I learned more in that 6-year period about homelessness, drug addiction, prostitution than I could have ever learned by getting a degree someplace, and I thank him for it. Staying clean, yeah. Hey, Janice. Yeah, and here's the thing that I have a problem with, and I shouldn't say a problem, but this is something that occurs to me. And I think, Janice, this will make sense to you. And you may get this too, Bugman. And it's like, take a guy like me, right? The guy that's like suffered from chronic depression his whole life. Which, you know, big deal. A lot of people do, right? But I can kind of identify with people like Becky and other people. And I keep my mouth shut about it because if somebody is willing to buy into, and I'm not knocking this, I'm not criticizing this, if somebody is willing to, you know, welcome Jesus and God into their life, and that works for them, good for you. That could not happen with me. And I think there's a lot of me and similarities with them, minus the drugs. I've had all the things that you would think you'd like to see them experience to keep them clean. I've had a nice wife, I've had nice toys, I've had nice houses, I've made a lot of money, I've spent a lot of money. And you know what? It wasn't that great. If you met my wife, you'd think I was crazy for leaving her, which I would agree with. But we're using a standard out there. And if you met some of my girlfriends, you would think I was crazy. If people would always say, "How do you get these girlfriends like that?" It's like, hell, I don't know. You know, maybe I don't know how I do. I don't know how to answer that. And I got tired of that. I could see when I was going into my 30s, mid 30s, I moved. I bought a nice condo on the 32nd floor in downtown Chicago. All I did was lift weights and play basketball for the first 5 years I got there. I got sick of that. I've got sick of living in Florida. I got sick of living in Chicago. And now I'm sick of living in West Branch. So I'm just a guy that in a certain amount of time period, nothing's going to make me happy. So in that sense, I've got a lot in common with Becky, minus the drug addiction. I've still got the, irreverent negative behavior because I'm just kind of like in neutral. I just get by from day to day. I don't want like a wife or a girlfriend, and I don't want a 2-week vacation in Florida, and I don't want a Corvette, and I don't want, a $200,000 vintage marble collection. I don't want anything anymore. I mean, I'm just like muddling along. So I know that if I was on the streets and you said, Tom, we want you to get clean, and I pinned you down about what it is that you thought getting clean meant, you would say, well, you could have a nice relationship. Don't want that. You could have a nice house. Don't want that. You could take a nice vacation in Florida. Don't want that. You could have an airplane. I don't want that. I wouldn't want anything. So there's no carrot for me to change my behavior enough and want to escape where I'm at the time. Does that make sense to you? I mean, I'm in that position. I'm in that predicament now. I mean, I tell people all the time, I wish I was 10 years older. It's like, now here I am, like 65. I've done everything I wanted to do, like 20 times. I've traveled everywhere I wanted to go, had every toy, and I'm just like out of things to do. So now I'm just like turning into a like miserable old hypochondriac. Yeah, like defining happy. It's subjective, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't even get off on taking off on these trips like I used to, just spur of the moment. I used to get so excited, like going off and doing things. I mean, like now I kind of look at the atlas, like maybe I'll go out to Montana in the winter. It's like now I can start going to Canada now. Maybe I'll drive up into the Yukon, get some new snow tires. Nah, it's cold up there. I'm coming up with like excuses like an old guy now. So there's nothing out there that I want anymore, for sure. I mean, I was thinking today, I was down, I go out and fuck around and take these videos, and I don't even like that like I used to like it. Stuff like that, I do it, but not with the enthusiasm I used to. So here I am with like, like just kind of stuck in the mud. It's just my personality. And God knows, I mean, I hope I don't live to like 85. I know this shows you how fucking fucked up my thinking is. So I go to the hospital a couple weeks ago. I got some kind of blockage, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is fucked up. But you know what? It's not bothering me that bad. If I was 35 when I didn't know shit yet and had just gotten married at 30 and had a great business, I would have been really worried. Oh my God, I've got something terminal. It's like, what am I going to do? Life is so great. But I passed that. And now it's not just getting older. It's my overall attitude. It's like I've run out of things to do. There's nothing you could bring up to me that I want. There really isn't. I mean, I guess I'm lucky. I like fucking around YouTube, or I would have no life at all. I don't like socialize. I don't want to do anything. I couldn't tell you anything. Yeah, version, yeah. Yeah, it's just like, my God, I mean, luckily I can still, get around, go out and do things like that. And you know what though? Sometimes like, I'm wondering even if it's depression. I mean, I joke with people sometimes like, oh, you're depressed. Like, yeah, I watch the news, which kind of is a short answer for shutting somebody up. But it's complex, right? It's amazing I made it this far. Can't even believe I'm still alive. Yeah, here's another weird thing too. My parents, I wasn't very close with my parents, and I mean, there was no qualms. They didn't want me, and that doesn't like hurt my feelings. I never said one thing to a psychiatrist about my parents weren't really into me. I don't really give a shit. And maybe that's part of what caused this personality. I didn't even go to my dad's funeral. I don't miss my mom either. If I could bring them back each for $10, I wouldn't do it. So, I mean, this could. I'm not convinced that because I think this way, there's necessarily anything wrong with it, and it just could have been uh, part of the sham of Marcus Welby and Donna Reed and Bewitched, and me thinking that stuff was real. I don't really know. You know what I mean? I don't know what to do. I mean, I like Daisy and it's cool, but I mean, and I'm a good owner to Daisy, but there's my neighbor. Thank God she's out of the woods with her COVID. She thought she was going to die. She was out on her porch sobbing a week ago. Felt so bad for her. But like you take Simple Life, if here she's a young woman in a marriage, if I could give her what I have to make her healthier, I'd do it. You know? Oh, she got macular degeneration? I bet she has macular degeneration. They're making some pretty good headway with macular degeneration with stem cells. The problem is getting somebody to pay for it at that age. Yeah, well, I would encourage you to look around on that, some experimental studies, Bugman. Look for some experimental studies on macular degeneration. I would do a stem cell study in a heartbeat if I was her. As it turns out, just like organ transplants, liver stuff like that, it's similar with blood arrhythmia, a CHAD score, CHAD. Medicare does the same thing. They score you with regard to eligibility for organ transplants. And basically, if you've got COPD or you've got a bad liver from drinking, you're not getting a new organ. You're just not. You're not going to meet the criteria. And they're pretty good at breaking it to you. But, you got to, just because you need it doesn't mean you're going to get it. It's the point. No, there you go. That's exactly it, Bugman. Big time. Yeah, I mean, I like dogs and stuff, but I mean, I do like animals, watching them and stuff like that. But the truth of it is, Janice, they're uh, they're animals, which I'm fine with. You know what I mean? It isn't like I hear people talk. It's like, oh, I don't know what would happen if Fifi died. I'd lose my mind. I mean, look, I love Daisy, but I wouldn't go crazy if she died. She's a dog. Yeah, it's true, Bugman. Yeah. Unless you're Mickey Mantle, that's no shit. But that's not uncommon either, or David Crosby. Exactly right. But I'll bet you money Mickey Mantle and David Crosby, I bet they paid that bill themselves. The thing about that is they were able to get an organ because they could afford to pay for it, not necessarily because they deserved it, particularly David Crosby. So basically, I'm glad you brought that up because what clarifies it is what keeps you from getting one when you need it, if you don't meet the criteria, is the lifestyle you led. But if you've got a big bank account, they're willing to sell it to you anyway. Hey, Summer. Yeah. There's these older women around here, and they always want to get together. And I know this sounds terrible, but I just don't feel like doing it. And they're nice old ladies. If they needed a ride to Cleveland Clinic or Ann Arbor, I'd be more than willing to do it. But I don't want to be hanging around with them in my off hours. And one of them, a lady I just ran into today, said, Barbara said she's not talking to you anymore. I thought to myself, great, do you promise? And it's like, why? She says that you don't ever call her and you don't ever want to get together. Yeah, you know what? I don't. This is not like 20 years old. Yeah, I mean, sorry about this, man. I'd help him out, but I just don't. It's all about the money. But, I kind of get that too, Janice. I mean, stuff is, you know, everybody thinks that, the world is just fair and that you wave a magic wand and that because we're putting people in their own private rocket ships on the moon, that you ought to be able to get organs. Not really. It's super expensive. If you look at what an organ transplant costs, I think like a liver transplant's like almost $1 million now. So if you're the government and you're paying for it, and this guy was a smoker and a drinker his whole life, why in God's name would you want to pay $1 million for an organ that he could have kept from ruining if he'd have just lived a different lifestyle? I mean, in a way, it kind of makes sense. I mean, in this day and age, there's not that many good examples of paying the piper. Yeah, do it. Yeah, you know what I mean, Janice? I mean, I kind of get it. You know what I mean? And after all, it's not like you're going to live forever. I mean, does a 90-year-old alcoholic deserve a new liver? Probably not. I mean, shit wears out. Hey, Nina. No, that's how I am. Yeah, I say that, but I've known of two instances of older guys that was just as shitty an attitude as mine. And when the Grim Reaper came knocking, uh, they were scared. I probably will be too. Hey, Thomas. No, me either. I tell people all the time, it's like them depressed, like, well, do me a favor. If you shoot yourself, would you please shoot me first? The farthest I made it was ideation. Older than me? You mean like, oh, you mean with these women I'm telling you about? Yeah, I'd say, well, in this particular instance, there's two of them, one 80 and one 77. I mean, I feel guilty about it because I think they just like the company and, they cook these nice dinners. And the whole time I'm thinking, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here. I mean, it's terrible. I know. I mean, I feel like saying, hey, look, I'll come over there, but would you mind if I ate two gummies first? They ask me things twice. They even accuse me of not paying attention. Yeah, you know what? I'm not. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Yeah, right, Thomas. Yeah, you wait till you're really knocking, Brian. It's so terrible, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just own it. There's another one I had in town and this sounds terrible, but I will tell you right out of the chute, I'm going to take the hit on this one. You can call me shallow on this one. I'm not going to argue. I'm going to own it. And she's about 5 foot tall, weighs about 400 pounds. Sweetheart, super intelligent. The first year I got to know her, she bought me $1,000 worth of Christmas presents. And I felt kind of bad for her. Not that I'm some great catch, but this is my take on it. And I could be wrong. I thought she, for the first time in a long time in her life, in her mind, she really liked buying things for like a guy in her life, even though there wasn't anything going on. And I constantly, would, you know, be clear about it. But people believe what they want to believe. And it finally got where it was kind of like a bitter, like, I had to finally threaten to fill out a police report on her. It's like, you can't be texting me and doing this shit, and leaving like stickers on my computer screen and stuff. She'd go in my house, put a sticker on my computer screen why I'm not returning her phone calls. Yeah, I ran out of gas. I did, yep. Oh, that's all right, Deanna. Oh, yeah, that's it, Deanna. That's it. I even got my new gas can to show you. Right back there. It's my gas can. See it? That was another thing I was a little worried about. I had to park on an angle because I pulled off quite a bit, and I just ran out. So I thought, God damn it! So I sat there and I thought, there's a 5-gallon, a 2.5-gallon, and a 1-gallon. I thought, well, if in case I have to walk the whole way, there's no way I'm carrying a 5-gallon filled up can of gas that far. So I went with the 2.5-gallon. And as it turns out, you can only get about 2 gallons in it. You can't tip it up far enough. They got all this safety bullshit on these gas cans now. It's got a neck on it about 2 inches long. So the can's hitting the side of the van when you only get it up like not even all the way. You can't empty all the gas out. So I'm glad I got the 2.5-gallon so I could at least get 2 gallons, and it started right up. No, I'll tell you exactly what it is. I haven't been feeling that great lately, right? And I run my gas down to nothing all the time, and I use the odometer. But now that gas is like $3.39 a gallon everywhere, I usually need like 23 gallons. Well, it's a $75 limit. So when you're not feeling good, I pump it up. It hits $75 before it fills it all the way up to the brim. Now, if I'd have been able to fill it all the way up to the brim within the $75, I'd have been fine because I know exactly how much I can get away with on my odometer. But I'm getting cut off at $75, and the only way to fill it all the way up is to start the damn cycle all over again, put my credit card in, all this bullshit. And usually it's only like a gallon and a half. Sometimes it's just a gallon. But today was a perfect example. I was about a half-gallon short. Actually, a quarter of a gallon short. And the reason I was is because I went with whatever it gave me on the $75 as opposed to filling it all the way up, which probably would have been like, 76.25. So I was a quarter of a gallon short, and it bit me in the ass. I deserved it. But you're like not feeling that great. People waiting in line. You got to put the thing in, start your credit card all over again just for a gallon and a half of gas. Because I'm aware of it, and I'm always thinking, well, I'm going to be back in West Branch, and I'm going to fill up before I run it all the way to the bottom. Well, that didn't happen, so I deserved it. Yeah. Yeah, see, Jackie, if I had $2.99, I wouldn't have ran out today, because that would get me within the $75 range, $72. So I'd have been fine. But when it's a little like $3.39, $3.42 or something, it cuts me out of about a gallon of gas, dollar-wise, as opposed to filling it up to the brim. And today's a bad example. But I got my faith in mankind restored. 2 people pulled over, and luckily they didn't see me from the front. They saw me from behind, so I at least can play in my own mind that they didn't feel sorry for me because I look like an old man that ran out of gas. Scratch that, because they saw me from behind, both of them. Okay, Bugman. Yes, 317, I'd have made it. 317, I'd have been fine. It's that 339 that got me. And the first people that picked me up, I had Daisy with me, right? So I locked the car. You know that rest stop that I show you when I park at the spot all the time? I ran out of gas a half mile south of that. So, it wasn't that big of a deal, But as soon as I started walking, somebody pulled over. It's like, hey, do you need a ride? It's like, I do. They even wanted to take me back to my car, but you got to go down 10 miles south. And on knowing that, I told them, it's like, hey, I don't want you turning around in one of these authorized deals, a 3-point ticket. And you know how that goes. I can almost guarantee you're going to get one because you're doing a good deed. I'd pay the ticket, but so now anybody giving me a ride, it automatically is 20 miles out of their way. So I told them about it. It's like, no, I don't want you doing that. If you just, I got a ride from where I ran out to Home Depot where I bought my gas can. And then I debated. I should have paid better attention, because on the north side, you can't walk across creeks, mud, woods, bullshit. And I thought, well, I'm going to walk on the southbound side, even though I'm not sure I can cross. and maybe somebody will see me and pick me up. I didn't even make it to the entrance ramp. Somebody blew their horn. It's like, sir, do you need a ride? It's like, yeah, I do, but you're going to have to go 20 miles out of your way. It's like, no problem. Be glad to. I gave them $20, which they didn't want to take, which I was glad they would just. And here's the thing, and I mentioned this earlier, which is why I started this other chat, is they were both drove jalopies, cracked windshields, loud mufflers. Those are the kind of people that see somebody in need that pull over and help you out. Super sweet, nice people. And I had to fight with them to get them to take the $20. Yeah, I don't really care. Actually, $3.29, I'd have got away with it too. I was a quarter of a gallon short. That's it. Another thing that gets me this time of year is today is a bad example because the sun was shining. So even when it's 32 in the sunshine, there's a lot of glass in here. And I got all those curtains taken off. So it stays pretty warm. And Daisy's, I've let her hair grow out. So I don't need to leave it idling. But if it's like, 25 and it's cloudy, I don't want Daisy in here without it running. So I leave it running. And you'd be surprised the gas you can go through idling a lot. Enough to run out when you stick to the format I use. Although I haven't run out of gas and probably it's been about 5 years. And to be honest with you, if I'd have been up in the UP, like where I come back from those photo trips, that's the first thing I thought. It's like, I'm not running out of gas with Daisy here and it's 17 degrees out. I wouldn't have let it happen. I'd have just bit the bullet and got gas. But today it was like I rolled the dice and I lost. Yeah. That's exactly it, Susan. That's exactly it. But I think those people, they presumably have a good life and they don't want to jeopardize. I mean, you can't really fault anybody in this day and age for not pulling over and picking somebody up. I mean, I'd do it, but I'm not saying it's a good idea. If I had a 22-year-old blonde, big-breasted, blue-eyed girlfriend, I would make it very clear to her, you do not pick anybody up, whether they ran out of gas, whatever. Don't do it. Now, if I had a 65-year-old overweight, steel-haired, gray girlfriend, I'd say, people need help, honey. And when you see somebody out of gas, I want you to pull over and pick them up. Yeah. That's what one guy said to me. Actually, the guy that picked me up, he said, people that pick people up now that are out of gas have a CPL, which is the concealed pistol license. Oh, really? That's good, man. And you're crazy to be riding a motorcycle around that area. You're lucky you're still alive. Ford Road's the busiest highway in the state. And on 275, that's even worse. Can I buy a life insurance policy on you? Hey, Kim. Oh, I hitchhiked all the way to Mexico City. I hitchhiked all through California, Seattle and back, Florida a few times, rode freight trains all over the place. Yeah, that's right, Susan. No, I pick them up. I stop. I've probably done it. Well, I've done lives before where I've pulled over and you guys were watching when I've done it. I don't mind doing it. I mean, that stuff, believe it or not, it doesn't really bother me that much. If I didn't have Daisy, when I have her and it's an area where I just cannot afford to run out of gas, that wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have. But where I was, and sure enough, I was right. There was really no problem. Actually, the whole deal from running out to going into Home Depot to getting the gas to being dropped off to starting it was 35 minutes. So you can't beat it, Oh, okay, Susan. Yeah, I mean, 5 a.m. I used to ride around the AAA jet copter, do traffic reports with Pat Bunks. Do you remember that? I don't know how old you are, Meth Dog. It was a Hughes 500C. And we would land in the field there next to the White Castle and go in and get a coffee. lead the helicopter running. So damn cool, man. Those are some of the best times of my life. I got all my friends are riding it too. Oh, 54? Yeah, see, you're 15 years, or you're 10 years younger than me. So you remember when that was all basically heading out to the country from Ford Road, heading west to Ypsi? Yeah. I saw 3 giant Canadian geese today. Hey, you guys are going to get a kick out of a short video I'm going to upload. You know, I went down to Nyangkwing today, you know, where they shoot the ducks. And they had these decoys, and as I was leaving, and they got these decoys, and it's an electric motor on a duck, and it makes their feet spin around. These fake orange feet on a duck. I guess it makes it look like they're active, but it's crazy what people go through to shoot ducks. The ducks were out smarting the hunters today big time. They weren't even coming in close. All these guys, I talked to 2 different guys, Linwood and then some other people down there at Nyangkwing, and they said those ducks got one glimpse of anything and they headed out over the ocean, all over the lake, way east. Well, there's different kinds of geese. Canadian geese are the black and white ones. When I was a kid, that was a big deal. If we had a Canadian goose fly into town, it'd be on the front page of the local paper. But now a lot of them don't migrate. The winters have been mild. Yeah, there's snow geese. There's all sorts of different kind of geese. If you Google it, bunch of them. Now, I got some video of some trumpeter swans, 2 pair, huge, beautiful birds, 5-foot wingspan. They're protected. You can't shoot them. Yeah, Dennis Newbacher, yeah. Hey, no kidding. He's still around, huh? What is he doing now? No, my Daisy eats turds to everything. Geese, deer. What, Meth Dog, what is Dennis Newbacher doing now? You know, he crashed a helicopter practicing a auto rotation and broke his back. If next time you talk to him, I know that him and Pat were friends. Pat Monks, that's the guy I flew around with. I think he crashed an Enstrom Newbacher. Or maybe it was a Jet Ranger. He did it over in a field, I think, over in Canton, I think. Yeah, but he broke his back, compression fracture, on an auto rotation. Oh, interesting. All right, Conan. You have a good night. That's cool. Yeah, Dennis Newbacher. And then there's that guy. He owns a Brian McMahon Helicopters. McMahon Helicopters. Is anybody flying a helicopter anymore down there for traffic reports? Probably not. Hey, Scott. Oh, from his house. Even when I was doing it, to be honest with you, the helicopter was all show. You know those people that drive around on the ground? That's who was coming up with all the good stuff. People are thinking it was kind of pitched like, oh, we got an eye in the sky, you know, a helicopter. We didn't do shit. We just flew around and all the stuff was radioed in. Now, if there was a big crash or a place on fire, we'd fly right over there and like hover around it. But most of the time, we weren't really doing any traffic reporting from the helicopter. We were up there, but we were listening to the people on the ground. And then, you know, at 20 after the hour, it'd come on. It's like, yeah, now we're going to go to the AAA Jetcopter, Captain Pat Monks. Yeah, we're on I-75 southbound, eastbound Ford Road's backed up 2 miles. But we knew that, not because we were there, but because of what we were told earlier. It had to be something big for us to actually go and use the helicopter to report on. It was all bullshit, to be honest with you. Yeah, well, back then, this was like the early 80s, and, photography was okay. It wasn't like it is now, man. If I'd have been doing that now with GoPro and the camera equipment I have now, oh my God, it would be like so crazy. I think now, even if I wanted to go out and charter a Hughes 500C, an old one, that's an old helicopter now, I'll bet it would be $1,800 an hour with a pilot and fuel, at least. No, not really, Adrian. No, it was all marketing. They'd take the thing and they'd land it in schoolyards and parades and that kind of stuff. But the helicopter really wasn't doing too much actual traffic reporting. You didn't know that as a listener on the radio show. You thought the helicopter's looking at all this stuff, but we were not. No, yeah, it's not really fooled. It's just there's a bunch of people on the ground. I forget what the name of them. It's Michigan Traffic something. There's like 50 of these people driving around on the ground giving traffic reports. And that's where we would get our data. Once in a while, I never did a police chase, but he did a couple of times. I wasn't with him. Where he'd help the cops out, but not very often. There'd be women, like, it'd be at swimming pools, it'd be like mooning us and stuff like that. It's crazy, man. Good night, Meth Dog. Some do, some don't. If they're a turbine helicopter, they use jet fuel. Yeah, right, just like a jet engine. If they're not, they use like 100 low lead, which is just like gasoline. So it depends whether they're turbine or normally aspirated engines. Turbine anything is way safer. Oh, yeah, I believe they do, yeah. Hey, I was down in Brownsville, Texas one time. I didn't see it happen, but some illegals were getting across the Rio Grande, and they actually had taken down a Border Patrol helicopter with rocks. They hit the tail rotor with rocks, and it crashed. No shit. Yeah, helicopters, yep. Yeah, no, it didn't happen like that much, but sometimes, like, he would say, hey, I'm going to drive over here out on wherever, 16 Mile and whatever. We went all over hell. I mean, you were doing 100 knots, and, all you have to do is point it in a different direction. In 10 minutes, you'd be, like, way away from Detroit. And there would be certain places where these women would be, like, out suntanning. They'd, like, pull their tops off and stuff. It's great. Yeah, it wasn't, like, great, though. I mean, it wasn't like, Girls Gone Wild stuff, Long time ago. God, when that happened, I was down in Brownsville, Texas one time, too, when the mall roof collapsed and a bunch of people got hurt. That big, giant mall in Brownsville, Texas. I've been everywhere in Texas. I got dropped off hitchhiking one time in Katy, Texas. Little town. I actually paid a lady $50, talked her in a gas station to take me out of there. It was like 2 days. I couldn't get a ride out of there. I finally gave her talked this lady at a gas station into taking me out of there. It's like, hey, I just give you $50, man. I've been here 2 days, not getting picked up. Yeah, Texas. I don't like that heat like that. Yeah, I've been to Houston. Yep, been to Houston. I've been to all those Dallas. All those places. Yeah, it's not my like. I like Arctic snow stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. I've been to Austin, beautiful town. Yeah, yep. When I was in Austin, though, I mean, I never when I was there, it wasn't. I don't remember it like being a big music thing like it is now. I mean, maybe it was, but I didn't know that while I was there. Yeah, yeah. I like the big crappy weather. Here, Daisy Sonsies. No, as it happened, as it happened. Yeah, as it happened. It wasn't anything great, I'll tell you that. Oh, sorry about that, Train. Yeah, I'm feeling like so-so. I'll tell you, last night, I don't know what, but I had like crazy nightmares, like all night long, like weird ass nightmares. Man, I got up this morning and it's like, God damn, man. You feel like relieved. It's like they're about ready to chop your head off for the death penalty. You're like, this seems real. And then you wake up and it's like, God damn, I'm glad that was a dream, a nightmare. No, I don't like that heat. Oh, jeez, that's a nightmare. That's not a dream. Yeah. I can tell you two parts of it. One part was I was at this place and they had these horses like they do that jousting with, like on those medieval shows, like in Florida. Why? I don't know. These horses had like that. And the horses had like tusks on them, like these big long tusks. And all of a sudden, these horses started getting unruly and they were like kicking in the air. And I remember like being shocked that they could be like, it was almost like they were doing a handstand and they were kicking really hard. And this is the weird part of it. I remember thinking those are oak trees and like these horses are almost kicking these limbs off that are 100 feet high in the air. Like both of them, there were two of them. And they were like, they do like this handstand and they kick their legs real hard. And I remember thinking, God, these giant horses are really going to mess up a bunch of stuff, kill people. And everybody started running and they had like these old, like wooden fences made out of like logs and trees. And they didn't do anything, but everybody ran and freaked out. This is what's so weird. So I go back and I go to my condo, the entrance of my condo in Chicago, and it's flat as a pancake. And everybody is freaking out. And this guy comes up. This is nuts, man. How this stuff enters your mind. This guy comes up and says for $1 million, he will uh, expand the entrance so we can at least get into our condos. So somebody gives him $1 million and he like takes this like jackhammer thing and he jacks up all this rubble and everybody's able to go in the condo. This kind of shit I was thinking. So nuts, man. No, no meds. No, nothing. That's the scary part. I mean, if I was on meds, I think, oh God, I'll have to be watching how much of those I take. Holy shit! Yeah, I think dreams. I've paged through some of those books. I think that dream interpretation stuff's a bunch of bullshit. I don't know why I think those things. Isn't that crazy, Potato? Yeah, 80s were cool. 70s were cool. Yep. Yep. It was crazy dreams, though. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on there. I never had a sexual dream either. Never had one, unfortunately. Oh, side effects? Hey, Shannon, how you doing? Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Happy holidays. Nah, as it turns out, I guess YouTube only sends out a notice now for 3 uploads a day. And as you know, I go through 3 uploads like in the first hour I'm up. So by the time I get around to doing a live, I've already shot my wad on my 3 upload notices. No, what is that? Christmas bore. No, it's pretty unreliable. Yeah, it is. Yep. I'll tell you, being a doctor, man, as I've gotten older, I've learned a lot more about it. You couldn't give me that job. Good night, Potato Pot. You got to know so much stuff, and you got to put up with so much bullshit. Hey, T-Stealth. Oh, you had a bad day today? I'm serious, man. Like a family practitioner, they see, like, on a busy day, 50 patients. Like 50 people coming in, talking your fucking ear off, lying about 20% of it. Oh, congratulations. Well, I think I'm going to sign off here and go inside. So I hope you guys have a good night tonight. Good. How you doing? No, not really, Shannon. You hear her sleeping? Daisy looked at me when I was going to get gas. She got right up on the dash. She's dreaming. No, I bet they'll still go to their destination, Deanna. I've known 2 instances where that happened. Good night, Lethea. Yeah, she's snoring, yeah. Yeah, have a good night, Shannon. Happy holidays. Good night, Adrian. I just got home. I ran out of gas. Good night, Janice. Have a good night. See you guys. Bye, Jan. Yep. Happy Thanksgiving to you. See you, Susan.